Yes, guys. Good evening. Thank you for guys in the comments waiting. We are here live with the Fab Four. You've got myself hosting today and my co-host along with the rest of the crew, TheSouthScouse. We've got Courtney here as well, and we've got SMS, our Statman Stubbs. And what we're going to be discussing today is the Burnley preview. It is the first game home for our beloved Reds at Anfield. Will the crowd spur us on to victory? We'll wait to find out. But without further ado, let's roll that intro and get into the comments.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. Got Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
How we doing, guys? Everyone all right?
Yeah, good mate, cheers. You?
Good. Yeah, not bad. It's good to have us all back again. It's been a while, obviously back with the Fab Four on a Friday night. So guys, in the comments, Fab Four will be previewing all the weekend games every single Friday going forward throughout the whole entire season. If you haven't got all of us, you'll have most of us, but the Fab Four will be here ready to rock and roll. Joseph in the comments already. How you doing, my man? It's good to see you in there as well. We can see you throwing up. What, really? 0-0 half-time? Oh.
He's getting worried. He's getting worried already.
Oh, we need a goal. Mate, the game's not even started yet. That have little faith. Yeah, Timikas, he shined through so far. But I have a bit of faith, my man. The game's not even started yet. It's our first home game back in front of the beloved Cop, the Red crowd. We should be ready to rock and roll. The Red Sea, fully in action. Oh, here he comes, look.
I like this.
God.
Yeah.
The formidables.
I like that.
The Fab formidable. Yeah, is it the first
that.
Competitive home game with a full capacity, like 520 days or something, 17 months? Mental.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
We're going to be there.
I cannot wait to be there. I'm going to be shouting my fat mouth off. I can assure you that. But guys, let's get into it. So we've got Burnley, our kind of opponent, our nemesis, our kryptonite. Let's talk about the head-to-head. So recently, we've had a torrid time of it, haven't we, really, with the head-to-heads against Burnley? I mean, SMS, I'm going to come to you first. Like, talk to me about the head-to-head and what that essentially means for Liverpool in this fixture.
Yeah, certainly. So, obviously, the head-to-head doesn't really look great for us, especially at Anfield. Last season, obviously, sucker punch with the Ashley Barnes penalty. The season before that, drew 1-1, which was our last home game. If we'd won that, we would have won 18 out of 18 in the Premier League at home, which would have been a good record for us as well. And obviously, we would have been over 100 points as well. So, just going on to the stats, we've played Burnley 79 times in total. At Anfield, the record at the moment is Liverpool have won 15 of them games. Burnley have won 17. So Burnley have got actual better records at Anfield than ourselves. And there's been 8 draws. That's at Anfield. At Turf Moor, the record is obviously a lot better in Liverpool's favour. We've won 21 games at Turf Moor. Burnley have only won 6, and there's been 12 draws. So in total, out of the 79 matches, Liverpool have won 36, Burnley have won 23, and there's been 20 draws. So obviously, when you look back at it and look at them stats, Burnley obviously favour coming to Anfield, but this time, like Thiago Favre said, obviously first time back in the stadium. Stadium's going to be full. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be bouncing, and I'm expecting a Liverpool win. Just to touch a bit more on the stats, because obviously it is head-to-head. The biggest victory that Liverpool have had over Burnley was an 8-0 victory. That was on the 25th of December, which is obviously Christmas Day, 1928. So obviously it was a hell of a long time ago.
Burnley didn't hold back on Christmas dinner then, did they, that day?
No, definitely not, no. And Burnley's biggest win against Liverpool was 4-0. That was on Christmas Eve, 1926. So obviously there's a little insight. Just touching up on the scorers so far, Bobby Firmino is leading the way. He's got 5 goals against Burnley. You have to go right the way back to Chris Lawler, who was also on 5 goals against Burnley, and then Sadio Mane and Tommy Smith, both on 4 goals against Burnley. So we've got 2 out of the 4 that current squad that have got a good record against Burnley, and I'm expecting the Reds to fully be focused and ready to get a couple of goals past Burnley.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, do you know what? Some great points in there as well, and we'd love to obviously get the first sort of home game off to a bang. Anfield's going to be full capacity, first time in how many days, SS, did you say?
I think I said the 520 odd days, which is about 17 months that we have not played in front of a full capacity in a competitive game, which I think was the Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, it was the Atletico Madrid game,
Yeah, which probably shouldn't have gone ahead anyway.
No.
I think that was the last game before football basically came to a standstill, didn't it? So never mind.
Yeah. Yosef in the comments, Thiago's father, is your son going to play tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later on the show, Yosef. Stay tuned. But guys, like, the head-to-head is pretty depressing when you come up against Burnley. They are literally our kryptonite. Every year when we go into this game, we're sitting there thinking they're going to defend deep, they're going to hold out, all they're going to do is sit, wait to counter us, long ball over, Chris Wood gets it, start to try and dominate, gets bodies up the pitch. Before you know it, there's a sucker punch. Now, someone in our Fab 4 is a Burnley resident, aren't they? And someone in our Fab 4 knows a little bit about Burnley. So I'm going to come to this person now. Courtney, talk to me. What's the feeling like in Burnley around this game? Are people in and around the town feeling confident about coming to Liverpool and upsetting and tipping the apple cart? They were the people that ended the kind of the streak. So is there a lot of confidence around the town? What's the thoughts?
Burnley fans are always confident. They always like to give it the big one. I mean, growing up there, it was always hard, especially being a Liverpool fan. I got a lot of stick, especially when there's games where we're getting beat, things like that. I know that my dad, he actually went on to the Burnley Liverpool game where we got beat, and he was sat in the Burnley end because he couldn't get tickets in the away stand. And everyone's there cheering, and they just sat there like. But no, I think Burnley's one of them because, like you said, they are a bit of our kryptonite. They do play that long ball over the top. They're quite a physical side. So I'm hoping that having Virg and everyone there, the gang back together, that he won't be able to out-muscle him even though he's just back from injury. So that is a bit of a funny one. But I'm guessing Burnley fans are probably going to be feeling pretty confident going into it. They always do.
Well, Courtney, you make a great point. And SS, I'm going to come to you on this as well. I mean, Chris Wood enjoys that physical battle. You know, key strength for Burnley. I mean, they like to pump the ball forward and get it around and get in and around Chris Wood, don't they? And try and make things happen. He's their vocal point in the attack. So is he going to be super brave and go and play up against Virgil van Dijk? Is he that type of player that's going to say, do you know what? Let's go and see what he's made of. Let's see where he's at in his rehab. Yeah, let's see where he's really at, because the Norwich game was an absolute breeze for him. Didn't really break a sweat. What kind of players, you know, come back for a little bit of a warm-up game in the first Premier League game of the season? Virgil van Dijk's done that. He's gone, do you know what? I'll just dip my toe in and see what all this Premier League malark's about. Do you know what I mean? Is it going to be the same against Chris Wood at Burnley?
I mean, Burnley are probably the only team in the Premier League that play 4-4-2 that I can think of. Still, completely flat 4-4-2. 2 big strikers. They started the first game of the season last week with Jay Rodriguez and Chris Wood up front. They brought Ashley Barnes on, and they brought Matai Vijero on as well. So they've got 4 strikers that usually all feature. And they're all quite similar. Like you say, they're all quite big. They're quite strong. Jay Rodriguez has got a bit more to him with his feet, and Vijero is a little bit more sort of fox in the box. But I would expect Chris Wood and Jay Rodriguez to start again. I think Jay Rodriguez did score a goal against us in that draw, which was a pretty decent goal, to be fair. But yeah, I look at Van Dijk and Matip, and you know, if you're coming back from injury because of your knee, you don't really lose your strength, and that's kind of all they go with. It's a big physical battle, like you mentioned, and I think Van Dijk's got that all day long. I think the only thing we'll see from Van Dijk as he comes back from not playing for a year is his fitness, and his pace might not quite be where it was, say, 12 months ago, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about any kind of physical battle with Van Dijk, really. I think Troy Deeney made a good comment about Van Dijk, which obviously Deeney v Van Dijk is a similar kind of battle. And he was just saying you just don't get anything out of him. You know, if you try and get a yard, he's there. The positioning, he wins every header. He's just constantly on you. I think he even said he smells nice. You know, he was just sort of saying that it's just like the ultimate guy. But no, I don't. I mean, you know, you'll have Ashley Barnes and Vidra probably come on around the 60, 70 minute mark, depending on, I mean, even not depending on the score, if they're winning or losing, that they'll probably just keep the top two fresh. So yeah, I don't see a major threat from them. You know, the only time we've really struggled to beat them is when Nick Pope has just had an absolute worldy performance, you know, made 5, 6, 7 saves. And obviously last season we weren't really at the races in terms of our finishing. You know, we were moaning about the defenders being missing, but when we went on that horrible run after, I think we went for about 3.5, 4 years without losing at home to losing 6 on the bounce. So it wasn't necessarily conceding. We were losing 1-0 and drawing 1-1, and the goals that we normally blitz teams in the first 30, 40 minutes at Anfield suddenly wasn't there. So the fact that Statman mentions Firmino and Mane's record against Burnley is good, then that's positive. And we've got Mo Salah, who's already off the mark and 2 off 100 in the Premier League. So I'd be pretty confident tomorrow.
Sorry, can I just say, do you know how you doing that about with the with his injury in his knee, and that obviously doesn't really affect his strength? I have to disagree a bit with that. I've done my ACL. I snapped it. I had a full reconstruction, and when you're in those shoulder barge challenges and things like that, your knee can buckle at any point. If you've planted your foot down, if someone goes in and they go in hard, it can have an impact on you. Because I've done it before where I've played on it. Someone's come in with a bit of a barge, and my planted and my knee's just gone like that.
Oh wow!
So,
yeah.
Especially if he's going to be going in all guns blazing. I'm going to be wincing a little bit, I think, watching.
Yeah, I think, and Courtney, I think you make a great point, just there, because you're right. I mean, the low center of gravity, obviously, you're going to brace yourself for the impact. Depends on whether it's the standing leg or the trailing leg that's going to be, shoulder side on, essentially. So, you make a really, really good point. And I have to agree, it is a concern of mine. Is it really the kind of game that we want to be throwing Virgil van Dijk into so early in his comeback from injury? We've got a £36 million centre back on the bench who is an absolute beast. Do we throw him in and say, go on then? What do you think to that? Do you know what I mean? Do we throw Konate in there and let him get roughed up a little bit of a welcome to the Premier League? Because he's gonna have to encounter that at some stage. We can't wrap him in cotton wool, but we know what Jurgen Klopp likes to do. He likes to kind of bed these players in. He's never been one to go from the start of the season and go, right, there you go, you're in. With any new signings, really. We look at when Robbo came to the club, he didn't kick a ball for 3-4 months?
Yeah.
And then, an injury occurred and he was in. And he's nailed down the place ever since. You then look at the same way that he brought in Thiago. Didn't kick a ball. Obviously, there was injuries, there was the COVID situation, so on and so forth. But he was eased in with a lovely passing masterclass against Chelsea. Absolutely fantastic. Same with Diego Jota, was eased in as well. So as much as I'd love to see Ibrahima Konate go in and just cause absolute carnage and just be a total wrecking ball up against, Chris Wood and, Jay Rodriguez and whoever else they want to try and throw on. The Verge thing worries me because you don't know if that knee is a ticking time bomb or whether he is the peak specimen that we think he is. So Yosef in the comments as well, really, really good shout here as well. do you think, and this question's going to go to USS, because it's a bit of a counter to what you were saying, yeah?
Yeah.
So do you think VVD should play the game, given Burnley are a physical team and the likelihood of injury is high? Also considering Chelsea next week, Joseph, you make an absolutely fantastic point. Chelsea the following week, and that's an opportunity to lay down a real marker. SS, has your point changed considering what our glamorous co-host has said just there from experience?
No, I like you say, I've not done my ACL, and Courtney has, so she's going to know far better than me. I was just kind of thinking more in terms of Van Dijk's presence. You know, the fact that he walks out that tunnel makes the Burnley strikers, you know, confidence fall by 20-30% instantly, in my opinion. And yeah, of course, if they ruffle him up a little bit, you know, he might feel that knee. But I think having Van Dijk right up against you, you know, letting you know he's there, sort of thing, is already kind of halfway to a clean sheet. So it's you know, you mentioned Konate. I agree. He did feature quite a lot in pre-season, but I don't think he's going to be chucked in to the deep end personally. And we've still got Joe Gomez, who, you know, realistically has been a first choice centre back for a couple of seasons. Really, you think that the Champions League run in 2019, it was Matip and Van Dijk, and the Premier League win was really Gomez and Van Dijk for the majority of the season. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against rotating the centre backs. You know, you see Man City do it, sometimes successful, sometimes not. In terms of last weekend, but it's that kind of the back four for me. You look through all the champions, all the best teams that have been successful and won multiple league titles. That back four you can name like that. You know, the Mourinho Chelsea back four, it's there. The Arsenal back four that won titles, it's there. The United back four, you could tell me straight away. So it's one of them. I don't think Van Dijk. Again, I don't really know where he's at his return. I would think in a good place if he started the first game of the season. But I agree, you know, you've got teams like Chelsea coming up, which you'd probably want him for more than this one. But if Van Dijk's not ready to play one game a week, then I don't think he would have played against Norwich. I think you would probably have left him out of the first one. So once the Champions League comes around, I would be surprised if Van Dijk plays every 3 days. But I think until that, when it's a 7-8 day break to the next one, I'd expect him and another.
Well,
yeah, I agree. You make some great points there, SS. And I think you're right in my heart. I think you're right, because you want to see him out on the pitch, that colossus. You know, like when they come out from the tunnel, it's that leap in the air where he announces himself, and the whole crowd just goes wild because they know that essentially one of our leaders, one of our key driving forces on the pitch is there. You saw the confidence that we played with against Norwich. The back four looked settled. Alisson Becker coming out, mopping balls up and pinging passes around again because he looks settled. He's not got, Nat Phillips, credit to him for the job that he done when he came in, and Ozan Kabak in front of him, or Reece Williams in front of him, or Jordan Henderson playing makeshift, or Fabinho playing makeshift. It just settles the whole entire team down. The 40-yard passes, the ball movement, everything that Virgil van Dijk brings, you want to see that week in, week out. But I just can't seem to not err on the side of caution where this injury is concerned. I want to see Virgil van Dijk in a Liverpool shirt for the next 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. I don't want to see him in a Liverpool shirt for the next 2 years because we overplay him and then he gets to 30, 32, 33 and it's like, right, my knee's shot. I need to go and take a sideways move to Spain or Italy to prolong my career. That's not what you want. You want to see him playing for Liverpool forever, essentially. Great comment in here as well from 1892 podcast, just on the same topic as well. And Courtney, I'll come to you, just finish this off as the person who's got
something in there.
Yeah, on the injury. I think Virgil will be tested in the game when the strikers I think Virgil will be tested in the games when strikers have smaller strikers, not so much the physical strikers. Turn of pace might be the facts of a Virgil van Dijk, not strength. Really, really good point there from 1892 podcast. You're right. Maybe that little bit of pace. We didn't see so much of that exposure in the Norwich game. I mean, Courtney, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, where it is a factor that if you're turning quickly and things like that, that your knee can just go. I think though, like in terms like with the physicalness of the game, you could look at it in the sense that if Virg plays, it could just give him a lot more confidence. If he goes into like a really physical game and comes out feeling a lot better about it, that might give him the confidence then to go forward for the rest of the season. So you don't know that, do you? So I feel like he could go into the Burnley game, be a dead physical game for him, and he feels fine and he feels fit, and I feel like that could give him the confidence then in his knee, because I think a lot of it, when you're coming back from injury, is in your head. Sometimes it's not necessarily in your head.
Yeah, you're right. Mental side of things is just as important as physical side of things in the game as well. Guys, we're just going to jog it on slightly. Hold on, here we go. 1892 pops up as well. I agree. And it's true, like we said, the mental side of things is just as just as important as the physical side of things. Again, the mind games. And you start to think to yourself, can I still do this? Can I still perform at the highest level to the point I was playing at? Because Virgil van Dijk was virtually invincible in our season that we won the league. He was a colossus. Nobody dared really go into battle with him. And if they did, they come off worse. We look at some of the moments of defending that we've seen in the Spurs game. Look at that bit of defending. Just it was a 2v1 situation, and he's guided the ball to the player which he knows is going to sky it. Yeah, give it to Sissoko because he knows he ain't going to put that away. Yeah, that is unbelievable defending. And just on knee injuries, I just want to give a massive shout out to my nephew, who unfortunately at a training session yesterday has broken his leg during a knee injury as well. So massive shout out to my nephew Kai. Get well soon. Player with a lot of promise, player with a lot of skill. Was at Chesterfield recently until he was released, and then unfortunately has just done a severe knee injury, so probably out for the whole entire season. And like you said, it's a mental thing. Seeing him and talking to him, you've done the injury yesterday, and talking to him over the course of today, it's am I going to play football again? Am I going to be the same? Am I going to be as quick? Am I going to be as physical? Because he's a very physical player as a forward as well. It's a struggle. But yeah, guys, we're just going to jog this on slightly and start to really get into the meat and bones. And what I want to talk about is the midfield three. So obviously, massive respect and massive condolences to Fabinho. Obviously, the untimely loss of his father as well. Fabinho came on against Norwich and looked sensational. Soon as he came on, game changer. Again, the midfield looked more settled. We were able to go forward and get hold of the game and control the game. I mean, do we expect Fabinho to play in this game, given the untimely passing of his father, and who potentially is going to partner him in that midfield? Hendo's played behind closed doors. Thiago's played behind closed doors. Naby Keita in the Norwich game didn't tear up trees, but rewatching the performance, he looked all right. But the fan base is in total hysteria. But yeah, who do we think is going to be in that midfield three? And I'll come to you on this, SMS. What's your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, obviously, condolences to Fabinho. Obviously, especially, I don't think he'll be able to fly back and for the funeral or anything like that either at the moment. So I think Klopp, in all fairness, will sit him out of this game as much as we obviously potentially may need him. I think he'd be more important in the Chelsea game. I just think if he did, for some reason, play, he's obviously got that, it's like we touched upon earlier, the psychological side of thing. If anything's said, or if he could just mistime a tackle, reckless tackle, and potentially get himself a 3-match ban. For me personally, I wouldn't play him just because obviously he's got what he's going through. I would really want to see sort of Hendo, Thiago and Naby Keita in the midfield. If it was me, I don't see we'll see Fabinho this weekend. I think potentially he'll keep him for the Chelsea game the week after.
So, Statman, I'm just gonna provoke this a little bit. I'm just gonna prod this point a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
These are professionals, and guys, I'm just probing a point. Yeah. If it was me, I personally wouldn't play him. Yeah. But these are professionals. Sometimes they want to play through it. Yeah. They want something to preoccupy their mind. So if he goes into Klopp and says, "No, I want to play," is Klopp going to turn around and stop him? Is he going to turn around and say, "No, you're not playing," or is he going to turn around and say, "Do you know what, son? Go out there and give it everything"? Because we've seen Alisson Becker in a very similar situation play through it, and I think that it affected his game in some ways as well. But I also like to draw attention to that little miracle goal he scored at the Hawthorns.
Courtney's doing it.
But this is what I'm saying. This can have different effects on players. You can sometimes it can draw a performance. What would you do? Would you turn around and say no, or would you say go out there and give it everything?
It depends. Obviously, Klopp will have worked with him all week anyway, or most of the week anyway. I suppose he could play through the game and obviously run off adrenaline. It's a difficult one because at the end of the day, you'd think, well, maybe I want to play and I want to dedicate the performance to his dad. You could look at it that way, but also his head might not be in it. I mean, Klopp is the only one that's going to know that, having worked with him week in, week out, see what sort of frame of mind he's in. And yes, although the player might just turn around and say, well, I'm ready to play, Klopp may turn around and say, well, I've got the final say. I don't think you're ready personally, due to obviously what's gone on. It's a difficult one. It's what Klopp's obviously seen this week going forward. If he feels he's ready, or he may just go, well, actually, we'll keep you for Chelsea. The Chelsea game potentially is more important. It's really difficult. It depends on the player's frame of mind, really, and if he can do it through adrenaline more than anything else.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and you're right. Adrenaline is going to be a big thing. We've got some great comments in here as well, saying can't see Fab playing. So from Joe Marwood, can't see Fab playing. I'm seeing a midfield of Hendo, Thiago, and Keita potentially. But my question to you, Joe, would be who plays that anchor role? Because I don't want to see Thiago play anchor. I can't. My head can't deal with it. I get frustrated. I don't want to see my son playing that role. I want to see him further up the pitch, getting involved. Yeah, linking things together, just decimating that Burnley back line, not holding and being a waste of a talent right there. There's some further great comments in here as well. 1892 podcast chipping in as per normal, with some great comments as well. I think Fabinho will be out of this game. I think it will be Milner, Keita, Thiago. Milner in as the cover for Fabinho, with Chelsea in mind. Great point. Milner didn't really disappoint me in the Norwich game. I think he done all right. You know, he kept things ticking over. He was a leader because obviously no Henderson in the team as well. But I mean, could Burnley potentially have too much for him? Yeah. Could Burnley overrun Milner in that midfield? That's my only concern. He's getting to the age where it's starting to the powers are starting to wane a little bit. I got a few odd looks coming from my co-hosts in there as well. Because Burnley, listen, guys, let's give Burnley their flowers. They ain't too shabby in that midfield. They're not too shabby. But Milner isn't exactly the powerhouse that he's always been. Courtney, go.
Well, in the first game of the season against Norwich, he ran the most out of all players in the first games of the season. I think it was like 12.65 kilometers he ran. Like, he's an absolute machine. So Milner, he can run all day, and he's like 35. Totally,
and I don't think the amount of miles kilometers that he's clocking in the midfield is my worry. It's the turn of pace. Yeah, there's a few times where you've seen him get caught out in positions, and that's my only concern at the moment. I mean, SS, what's your thoughts?
I mean, the only player in that Burnley team that has any pace is Dwight McNeil, and he'll be probably on the left wing up against Trent, so that should be neutralised. In terms of the midfield, personally, I think Fabinho won't be in the squad. I think his father passed away either late Thursday or early Friday, so it's very recent. You know, if it was at the start of the week, potentially he could have featured, and like SMS said, it's all dependent on that one player's characteristic personality, you know, how it happened. You know, I think Alisson's was quite a tragic kind kind of story to it. I don't know what's happened with Fabinho's father. Of course, it doesn't really matter when they're not here anymore, but it's all dependent on how you handle that. But yeah, the fact that it was so fresh, I don't see him even being on the bench tomorrow. What I do see is the exact same three midfielders started against Norwich. Henderson and Thiago played in that behind closed doors game. They both featured in the Osasuna match that you went to as well, TF. But playing in the Premier League from the start against a very physical Burnley side, I'm not sure is the best way to reintroduce those two back to the team. So I think Milner starts in the 6. I think Keita and Ox start again, just as they did against Norwich. We won 3-0. You know, it's not the end of the world to start the same midfield again. But I think 65 minutes, 60 minutes, Milner will come off for Henderson, and Henderson will play in that 6 role. He's more than capable of playing there. Deep line playmaker, and he's got a bit of a bite to him as well. So he has done that role successfully in the absence of Fabinho in past seasons. And I think Thiago may come on for half an hour, probably for Chamberlain as well. So, or whoever's having the worst game out of Ox and Keita. And I think once they both get half an hour in them, at least in the Burnley game, I would expect the Chelsea midfield to be that Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago the week after.
You made some great points in there as well, and like you said, Milner is just he's a beast in terms of his physical prowess and how he's able to continue to run. I just worry that the powers are waning a little bit. I mean, let's all be honest. We've looked at him and we've gone at some points. We've gone, ooh, that's not the same James Milner that we saw last season, you know. And you're right, he does run. He'll run through brick walls, but is that enough? Is that enough? Because there's been situations that we've all seen them where we're thinking, you know, is this his last season? And he comes back and he does more, but again we go, oh, this is his last season. I'm just a little bit concerned. I wouldn't want to go into 2, 3, 4, 5 games of him being a starter in our midfield. I just don't think it's possible. The sooner we can get some of these midfield guys back in, like your Thiagos, like your Hendersons, maybe sustained minutes from Keita, like we're seeing here in the comments as well. I'm not a huge fan, but we can start to maybe, get Milner in and do the cameos that we're. Let's not, because I'll start going in. So.
We'll get slaughtered like we did on Day Trippers.
Yeah, we'll get slaughtered. But no, I just think that he needs to play cameo roles, not starting and playing 70, 80 minutes. And there was a great comment in here from 1892, Red's podcast as well. And you're right, he's a 7 out of 10 each game. And I was having the same conversation with some guys that play for the club which I coach at, and I was saying, to be a model pro, you've got to be 7 out of 10 every single week at a minimum. If you can be posting 7 out of 10s week in, week out, there's a career for you in football. Some of the best players and most consistent players bang 7 out of 10s week in, week out. You know,
I think he can. I think he is that cameo role, isn't he? I guarantee he's in there because Henderson isn't. So 60 minutes, Milner will come off, Henderson will come on. He'll give him the armband, and it will slot straight back in. And Milner will happily take a backward step back to the bench when we're at full strength in that midfield. And then, as we know, Keita, Chamberlain, Henderson, and Thiago's injury record is shocking. So Milner will be needed again October, November, December, and Jan, and it's going to be bits and pieces. And he might start, play 60 minutes, or if we're in the Champions League again, which is, I think the draw is next week for the group stage. If we're needing to see out a 1-0 win away to the best team in that group other than us, then you might see Milner come on for the last 20 minutes and hold it tight. So yeah, I don't see him playing 30, 40 games. I think he might feature in 25, but rarely play 90 minutes. Yeah,
very true. Just a quick one here from the 1892 Red podcast as well. SMS, TF, SS. Has Courtney got a nickname yet? Yeah, we refer to her as the party animal, but we don't really have a particular nickname yet. Yeah. So guys, if you have a nickname that we can call Courtney, please smash that in the comments bottom for me as well. And the best suggestion will become Courtney's nickname. I can assure you that. Joe Marwood, thank you for smashing the comments as well. I see Elliott getting some minutes off the bench to take advantage of Burnley's tiredness for the last 30. Mate, great point. And that leads us nicely on to that segment of the show. Harvey Elliott, I mean, this game's made for him, innit? This game's made for him. Burnley at home in front of the Anfield crowd, first home game of the season. What a game to throw Harvey Elliott into. That would be insane. And he goes out and he dominates and gets a standing ovation from the Anfield crowd on the Kop. Wouldn't that just set up his Liverpool career forever? We'll be talking about this game forever if he plays and does well. I mean, Statman, talk to me. Is that something that you want to see?
It would be something I want to see, but whether or not it would happen is another thing, because unfortunately it's only 3 subs now and not 5. So if we're going off potential changes, SS has already covered both Thiago and Henderson coming on, and obviously the other one I would presume would be either Firmino or Jota, whoever's not starting. So I would think that would be the 3 that would come on. So it's going to be difficult. Yes, he obviously came on against Norwich, but Thiago and Hendo went on the bench that day. So me, as much as I'd love to see him come on, I don't think he's going to come on, because I think the 3 subs that we're going to make are going to be Thiago, Hendo, and either Firmino or Jota to come on. So I don't see him coming on in this game.
You make a good point, but I'm of the opinion if you're good enough, you're old enough. You know, if he's going out and he's putting in top draw performances against championship teams and he's annihilating championship teams, his performances for Blackburn were incredible. He played some real good football. And let's be honest, Burnley have been clinging on by their fingernails to Premier League status. They're an elite level championship team. No disrespect to the Burnley fans watching, but let's have it as it is. They've been clinging on year on year, apart from that one year when they made it to Europa League football and flunked it in the first round. Yeah, let's be honest where Burnley are at. Yeah, they're a well-organised outfit, but they hardly play sexy football. I think Harvey Elliott would be able to do some damage against Burnley. I really, really do.
I mean, just touching upon that as well. I mean, I watched quite a bit of the highlights from Burnley Brighton last week, and I was quite surprised how open and how much Burnley actually got counter-attacked by Brighton. So there is that option there, but I honestly,
lead as well.
Usually
you think they're part of the bus
winning 1-0, weren't they? So as much, like I said, I'd love to see Harvey Elliott come on, because I think he was man of the match against Bilbao for a start. He was phenomenal. It's just a shame that there's only going to be 3 subs and not 5, because yes, obviously he's got all the potential there. It's just whether or not how the game's going. If we're winning, I don't know, 3-0 quite comfortably, they might say, oh well, you have a rest this way, Bobby, or you have a rest, Jota, this week, and let's give Harvey Elliott a few minutes. It just depends how the game's going. Yeah,
you make a good point. Joe Marwood, nickname C-Bomb. I don't think she likes that one, mate. Back to the drawing board. So, guys, just quickly, because we're going to start wrapping up soon, and one thing that we cannot not talk about, the one thing that counts for everything when you support Liverpool Football Club, home advantage. Guys, Anfield is going to be packed to the rafters. Players walking out. You'll never walk alone singing around the stadium. You see that leap from Virgil van Dijk. Referee blows the whistle. Mate, the place is going to be rocking. Can Burnley honestly come to Anfield and get something in front of the Kop? It's a sellout. Like, can they really feel that they can get something, mate? I had to beg, borrow, steal. The only thing I didn't do, I won't even tell you the only thing I didn't do to get a ticket to this game. We won't even get into it. Yeah. Thiago's father went to lengths to get a ticket for this game. I went to extreme lengths to get a ticket for this game. But like, SS, I'm gonna come to you. Like, it's nailed on. Surely, first home game of the season against Burnley.
Yeah.
You know, the home advantage got to count for something. What do you think the outcome's going to be? Like, it's only one way, isn't it? Surely,
it's got to be, innit? I mean, Statman said that, you know, the recent record at home, you know, we've not beat them. We lost last season. We drew the season before. It's about time we show Burnley who's boss, and improved on that head-to-head record, especially at home. So, yeah, I mean, we're really early on in the season. The players that he's going to want to use off the bench are the people he sees getting the most minutes in this season. And unfortunately, Harvey Elliott isn't one of those. So just touching on what Statman said, Henderson, Thiago and Jota/Bobby will be the 3 subs guaranteed if they're on the bench, if one of them have picked up a knock or an injury here or there. So, like players like Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, I think are going to have to be very patient this season, unless there's another injury crisis. I think they're going to mostly be
playing. Don't play it. No. Do not even speak it into existence. Because if it happens, it's your fault. Don't even speak it.
But no, I think Pope's come back. He missed the summer through injury, so he's not quite where he usually. I think the last few times we've played Burnley at home has been towards the back end of the season when Pope's already played 25, 30 games, got the confidence, got the form. So to play them quite early on is probably a good thing because Pope's already played one, let in 2 goals against a very average Brighton team at home as well. So I think it could be a very similar match to Norwich. I think we're going to have all the possession. They're going to be relying on set pieces, so we've just got to be careful. Trent and Smikas I worry about giving away silly little free kicks on the edge of the area because anything in and around there, that's going on Wood's head, it's going on Barnes' head. They've got some big defenders as well, Tarkowski. So that's going to be their main threat, really. I think the only reason they scored last year was because we gave a penalty away and we were caught out. But I don't see anything other than a Liverpool win. I don't see anything other than a clean sheet. It would be great to see Salah get to the 100 club, especially as he's my captain in my fantasy league team. So that would be very nice. But yeah, just to see everybody, see everybody carry on hitting form. And if we're serious about winning this title back, these are the games we've got to make a mark and say this is Anfield. Nobody comes here and gets anything. It's especially the likes of
last season.
Except, that's what I'm saying. We need to get that aura of invincibility back again. We need to go on another 75 match unbeaten run at Anfield now, and we look back and we think, you know what? There you go. We won a couple of titles in there. So, I'd go 2-0 with my score prediction. I don't think it's going to be crazy because it's going to be a physical battle. I think it could be 0-0 probably at half time. I think maybe towards the second half, the introduction of Hendo and Thiago and a Jota or a Bobby will probably be too much for Burnley, who can probably match us for 50, 60 minutes. But, the subs that we can bring on, even though it is 3 and not 5, are still way ahead of what Burnley have in reserve. So, I think a 2-0 victory, nice clean sheet, and head into that massive Chelsea match, which, although it's very, very early doors, could have a big say on where the title goes.
Totally. And we've seen Manchester City lose in the opening week. We've not seen that for a long, long time, to be honest. And with a certain £100 million player in their starting lineup. But never mind. Chris Welch is going real bossy in here, man. He's got the balls on a chopping board here. I'm saying 4-0 Burnley. No excuse. Anfield rocking. Chris, I'm here for it, pal. I am here for it. 4-0 to Liverpool. I am here for it. If we can get that, buzzing. What a statement that would be. Guys, just quickly, before we wrap up, Bobby Firmino was scintillating against Norwich. When he came on, again, another one that changed the game. Jota was good. Let's give credit. Jota was running the line. He was getting involved. He looked very, very good. Yeah, well taken. He was good. Yeah. But Bobby was just class. The football was sexy, man. Everything was just sexy. Like just the link up play, the ball movement, the dropping deep, retrieving possession, the getting on the ball from deep as well. That was like Bobby like 1920 vibes, weren't it? That's what, just there you go. See it, SS. That was Bobby 1920 vibes, no? So is he starting? He's got to start. He's got to start. Statman, hit us with some stats on Bobby.
Well, as I touched upon earlier at the start of the show, Bobby's actually got 5 goals against Burnley, which is the most for any Liverpool player, past or present. It's obviously I wouldn't like to be Klopp when it comes to picking the team, because I thought, you got the nail right on the head there with Bobby. I thought he looked sharp. He looked back to his best. he looked like he had that sort of grit in his teeth that he just wanted to show what he can do, and he was quite clinical when he got the chance. Because although it looked an easy chance, it was still a difficult chance. He still had a lot of work to do, and he took the chance really well. So I wouldn't like to be in Klopp's situation, because obviously Bobby scored, Salah scored, and Jota. You'd probably say Salah and Mane are odds on to start. They normally are. It's where do you go, because both of them scored. So I'm sure both of them would have been knocking on the door and saying, "Well, I scored last week. I should still be starting like I started last week." And then you've got Bobby saying, "Well, actually, I scored as well, and I changed the game when I came on alongside Fabinho." So it's difficult. I mean, you don't change a winning team. So yeah, all I can say is I wouldn't like to be in Klopp's shoes. It's a nice scenario for him to be in, but obviously, unfortunately, you are going to be upsetting one player if the other doesn't start. Unfortunately,
we've got a couple more nicknames coming in here as well. She's on the edge of this one. Jericho, you might be onto a winner, pal. You might be onto a winner here. Yeah, do you know what, Statman? You make some good points as well. Bobby's going to be saying, "I'm starting." He's going to be turning around and saying, "Look, I can want to change the game. Pick me." SS. Are you just quickly? You giving him a starting role?
I don't really care out of the two. I don't think either of them are 20 goal a season strikers, which is ideally what everybody wants. But I think between them, they can probably get 20. But maybe 10 each in the Premier League, and that would be really good if Salah gets his 20 that he always gets. If Mane can get maybe 10 as a minimum again, that's 50 goals across the front four. That sounds pretty good to me. So yeah, I don't actually care who starts out of the two. I don't think one is particularly better than the other. I think if one starts one week and comes on as a sub, I think that you could easily switch it round the following week and pick on form. They both scored, didn't they, last week? So
yeah,
it's a 50-50. Whoever starts, the other one will definitely come on for the other, and whoever scores or plays better tomorrow will probably start against Chelsea. So I really don't care out of the two. I think Mane and Salah are nailed on, really. I don't think there's anybody knocking on the door too much. You could argue Jota could maybe play left with Bobby through the middle, potentially, if you wanted to mix it up throughout the season. But as Statman said, it's nice to have an actual selection dilemma for a change, rather than these are the 11 fit players. We might have 7 midfielders and 0 centre-backs, but we could just get them on the pitch. So we've got good options. We're not necessarily the best squad in the Premier League in terms of quality, but yeah, out of the two, I'm really not bothered who starts, because the other one will feature, and if one of them gets a goal, we should hopefully get something out of the game.
So with Chelsea in mind, then, because we know we've got Chelsea the following game, does Jurgen go tried and tested? Do you see Mane, Firmino, Salah, Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho? Robbo is apparently not too far away. Yeah, there's rumours swirling that Robbo went too far away. Chelsea game may come too soon for him, so Tsimikas to start, yeah? Obviously, the centre-back pairing of Verge and Matip looks like it's cemented at the moment, yeah? And then Trent on the right, and then Alisson Becker in goal. You go super strong for that game, and with that in mind, the changes could be ringed in this game. You could see Jota come in and start this game, and again, for Firmino make a cameo, at 60 minutes. And if we are in need of a goal, we've seen him change that game. I mean, Courtney, just to give you the final say on this before we close, do you drop Bobby? Do you start him with Chelsea in mind? What's your thoughts?
I'm Bobby's biggest fan. I love Bobby. He would always start for me. I feel like he's such a game changer. I feel like he had a bit of a tough season last season. I feel like he's not the biggest goal scorer, but I feel like what he creates, the passes that he makes, I just rate him so much. I feel like even when he was at Hoffenheim, like just the style of play, he's got such good work ethic. Like Klopp loves him, and I love him as well. I would always.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned the Hoffenheim, because that was something new, that industrious work rate from a wide player or a striker. They hadn't seen that in the Bundesliga before. And Klopp was even raving about him in his Borussia Dortmund days as well, saying, we need this player because he was like Mario Götze on steroids. He would work hard, going forward and going backwards, something that Götze didn't really do. Götze was really creative in the final third, but that work rate going back was insane from Bobby. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Bobby as well. Joe Marwood thinks Bobby all the way. Jota for an impact sub. But I think we're going to see a tussle here for this starting position over the next year, over the next season. I really, really do. Daddy Pig with some great comments here as well. I hate calling you Daddy Pig. I'm going to have to call you DP, bruv, because I can't keep calling you Daddy Pig, honestly, on my streams. It's crazy. But Bobby offers more to our play and is involved more. Jota could get a goal, but is not as involved in the game. Bobby being more individual, being more involved in play could lead to another goal, could lead to the other two getting a goal. You're right, because he brings others into play. His movement coming backwards creates a space in behind for Salah and Mane to run into. That movement is insane, but I'm with SS as well. Sometimes you need that out-and-out number 9, that goal getter, that person who is going to run that line and press that back for game after game, minute after minute, and be relentless. And I think that Jota does that. So
keep it as fresh as possible. Rotate, exactly. And Mane can be included in that as well. The only out of the 4, the only one that is there for life is Salah. He's not getting touched, but the other 3 can all rotate, in my opinion. Yeah,
I agree. And like you said, you want that pressing machine, someone who's going to harass that back 4 for 60 minutes, and Jota does that. But Bobby just offers that touch of class, doesn't he? Like I said, it's just sexy football when he's on the pitch as well. But guys, before we close, SS, what have we got coming up for the rest?
We got to do score predictions first, because me and SMS are 100% record at the moment.
100%, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, because I flunked the Norwich prediction, didn't I? I went with 4, and you. Yeah, I went with 4, and you lot went with 3. You didn't get ballsy enough. You went with 3.
We knew what was coming. We knew we called it.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll go score prediction first then. First. So 2-0 Liverpool.
Oh, you're such a copycat.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going to... What
I said 2-0 earlier.
Did you?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
I wasn't listening. 2-0 Liverpool. Courtney, where are you going?
Well, I just feel like I need to be different to all you guys, because it looks like you're all going 2-0, so I'll go 3. I'll go ballsy again.
Okay. All right. Statman.
Well, I think there's an agenda. I think Adam's watched my predictions from yesterday and gone with the same one, I think. Definitely. Obviously, we were both right with a 3-0. I'm going to stick. No. I'm gonna stick with my.
Statman, it's a game. Don't let him draw you out. It's a game. Don't let him draw you out.
2-0 definitely, and I've gone for Salah and Jota to score. But
he's picking goal scorers as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tasty.
All right.
Just to quickly point on that, I know obviously we mentioned about Bobby or Jota. He could really throw a spanner in the works and play 4-2-3-1 and play them all. So
true
against Burnley, you never know.
Why have you always got to be different? Why can't you just stick with the status quo? Like, he'll just throw a little spanner in the works. There's guys in the comments going absolutely. There's some outrageous score lines in here.
7-0,
banging up with 7-0. Ali A's banging up an 8. Daddy Pig's being like super conservative. DP's going 2-1. I'm here for it. Ali's also at 8-0. He's singing that in the comments. Guys, listen, before we sign off, smash your score predictions in that comments box. I want to know what you all think. And if not, hit us up on the Twitter timelines as well and let us know what you think score predictions. Joe Marwood, he's going 4-1. No, listen, they can't score at home, mate. I can't let Burn. I
love clean sheets, man.
Yeah, we like clean sheets. We celebrate clean sheets the same way we celebrate goals. If you don't know that, please go and check out my live watch along when Alisson Becker makes the triple save, mate. We celebrate clean sheets like we celebrate goals. I'm telling you now. But Joe Marwood, good shout there as well. I'm sticking with my 2. We need to win 2 to draw back level.
You've got to be right one time, Thiago, haven't you? So you got to be right once. You got to be exactly already with me and SS, aren't you? So
Oh, here he goes. Correction, 4-0.
Better
Better from you, Joe Marwood. Better. Right, so
I'm
guys,
also doing pretty good in the old Red Sea Podcast Fantasy League, by the way, just to say.
Yeah, because I haven't joined.
I'm well, that's your problem, not mine. I'm 8th out of 63, and there's a few people waiting to join for the next one, so not too bad. Okay. Chris Welch is level with me as well, so fair play to him.
Yeah, shout out to you, Chris. Shout out to you, regular contributor and supporter of the Red Sea Podcast as well. Guys, I just can't do fantasy football because what happens is I start off like real strong and I'm putting out dominant teams. Then it gets to like 4 or 5 games in and something happens and I forget, and then everyone's like, "Oh, look, you've dropped off." And then I just stop playing, and because then the banter kicks off. Oh, Thiago's father thought he was good, and now look, he's rubbish. All the banter starts kicking off, so I just stopped doing it.
I'm coming. Yeah. I'm getting that title.
Yeah. So SS means business in the fantasy league. You can tell he likes FIFA. But yeah, guys, listen, it's been a pleasure having us here tonight as well. SS, before we go, tell the people what we've got coming up, my man.
Yeah, so Transfer Tuesday kind of taken a back step because there isn't any. So we're planning a big deadline day show, and it's actually going to be the last hour of the window. So I think it's 10 till 11. The window closes at 11. So we're going to be getting different people, cameos, special guests. So I won't say who, but there's a few familiar faces that are going to be popping up. I'll be in a caravan in Weymouth, so I'll try my best to be on there. Other than that, international break, not too far away. We're going to get back on the tier list. So we've got 3 parts for the strikers, and Statman's going to be joining us for those going forward, dropping all the stats, which is exactly what that show is all about. We normally get Steve as well, another regular contributor to the show, and Ian sometimes as well, who used to be the guys at Football Focused and are now going to be doing bits and pieces with us as well. So that's all good. And actually, one thing that I haven't even mentioned to you yet, James, the Champions League group stage draw, I believe, is next Friday, and I'm off. Mm-hmm. So I'm more than happy to do a watch along for that and a reaction to the Champions League group stage draw. So I'll be scheduling that one in. So lots to look forward to. Obviously, me and James are at the game tomorrow. We do Red Sea full time over on LFC Day Trippers, so we're both going to be outside the ground because we haven't got to rush back to the car because we're getting the train. So we can do that outside the stadium. So if you're watching us, if you see us, come and say hello. We'll be giving you our match reaction and hopefully talking about a nice healthy win.
Yeah, great. Courtney, give the viewers your Twitter. I'm sure they're all dying for your Twitter. So give the viewers your Twitter.
Courtney Barker _XXX Twitter.
Good. And Statman Stubbs, where can the viewers find you as well?
Just on Twitter at Stephen Stubbs 985. You can find me on there.
Fantastic. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been Thiago's father. This has been Courtney. This has been our very own Statman Stubbs and the Southern Scouse at SS. Courtney, we still need to find you a nickname. There was a couple in here which I liked. I liked CC. We may go with that, but we'll discuss. We'll discuss it.
CB is just nice and easy, I think.
CB. Okay. All right. Cool. We'll discuss.
Bunch, isn't it?
It is the best of a bad bunch. Guys, we'll be back soon. Keep an eye out for everything we've got going on the Red Sea Podcast. Keep your eye on the Twitter. Keep your eye on the Instagram. Make sure you are liking and subscribing, and make sure if you haven't already, hit that bell button, because that will make sure that you are up to date with everything that we have going on with the Red Sea Podcast. And we're out.